glow on the YouTube screen. Sean B steps in where the cuts run deep. From a New York state of mind, she was born to see what gets lost in the dark, what they don't want to speak. Silk in her voice, but the questions hit hard. Pulling back the curtain, laying truth on the yard. Every hush-hush story, every shadow clue. She's piecing up the pain till the whole thing comes through. She don't chase noise, she follows the trail. When the headlines miss, she will still unveil. With a sharp-eyed soul and a heart that knows some stories need light so the healing can grow. On YouTube, tune in, let the realness rise. Like, share, subscribe, keep the truth alive. For the tears unseen and the cries turn low, she be lifting up the weight that the world let go. Every fact she finds got a purpose and pulse. Every case she touches makes the silence convulse. No cheap thrills, just grace and fire. Taking buried details higher and higher, where the whispers get drowned and the weak get missed. She's a soulful reminder they still exist. She can feel when the story ain't sitting right. So she walks through the dark just to bring back light. With that grown woman glow and pivotal flare, she's reaching for the truth 'cause it's waiting there. On YouTube, tune in, let the realness rise. Like, share, subscribe, keep the truth alive. That city soul, that uptown grace, and a mind that can read what time can't erase. So gather round close, let the story unfold. Some truths need a voice, some hearts need a hold, and she won't let the quiet just fade away. She's turning low, whispers into words that stay. On YouTube, tune in, let the realness rise. Let the realness rise. Gets revealed, and every story matters.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Buttercup. What's up, Q? There's my lady Mysterious. Steptoe, how you doing, girl? What's going on, Tina? Good evening, Miss Robin. Hey, Tutu. Glad you like the music, love. Kind of fond of it myself. Hey, Miss White. How are you? Takesha, how's it going this evening? All right, guys. I hope Tay makes her way over. We're covering the case, the court trial she wanted to cover, even though Tina blew it for us because I truly was not following it. And thank you, love. I'm glad you like it too. Um, excuse me. I genuinely was not following the case. I had heard about it. And a lot of times, if it's not really, really, really big, like the Julio Fulio case and other big cases, Casey Anthony, I would have loved to have been a YouTuber then and therefore a content creator because, oh Lord, I would have ripped that little girl from, I would have ripped that mama to shreds. But anyway, you guys, please excuse my voice. I just woke up from a really long, wonderful nap. Now I'm probably going to be up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm just waking up. And so I'm trying to give Tay a chance to get over here. I don't have her phone number, so I couldn't contact her to let her know, but I did say yesterday that we would go live at 7 o'clock. However, I saw that she was somewhere else in these YouTube streets doing her thing. And, I was watching another CC doing her thing. And that's where Special K and Tay was. And I didn't say anything. I didn't even get in the chat. I like to watch the CC and check out their style and see if it's, a house I want to visit again. And she a cool chick. And so I know that that's where Special K and Tay was. So I'm just trying to wait, give Tay a chance, and just give it a few more minutes if you guys want to listen to some more music. I'm sure it's a few of y'all in here that won't mind. Miss Steptoe, you okay? Y'all, I called Miss Steptoe today and she was so shy. She was surprised. I surprised her and called her. She had given me her number. And I said, well, let me surprise her. And I called her, and Lord have mercy, she just couldn't get it together. It's okay, boo. It's all right. I do that from time to time. I do. I do it from time to time. And like I told you in our private conversation, anytime you want to talk, just give me a call. I'm here to listen. Lady can tell you, Tina can tell you, and there are a few others that have chosen not to be on YouTube anymore. We still talk, but YouTube has gotten so crazy that they've just elected not to be here anymore. And I'm sure you guys have noticed their absence. And I miss them up here with us. Right. And I'm sure a few of them are sitting in the bushes, but they just don't want to be seen. They pop in and out, that sort of thing. But that's what YouTube does to some people. They just don't care to be a part of it anymore. They don't want to witness all of the chaos that we all know that's been going on lately. So a few of our family members, they sit up in the bleachers, not in the bushes. They have their lawn chairs and they're sitting up in the bleachers watching. They quietly come in and they quietly tiptoe out, you know. So All right, well, we're going to get started here because I don't want to hold you guys up. You guys are here and on time. Even though I was late, I said 7 o'clock. So, like I said, I was trying to give the person, Tay, I'm chosen, a chance to finish up where she was. I was giving her that grace. And so we're going to get started here and we add this there. This is the case of the assistant principal, Ebony Parker, who was charged with the weapon attack of one of the students. And this is the opening statements.
You will hear from that teacher because she witnessed the events, but she is a witness. The victim of this crime are the children. The defendant, Dr. Ebony Parker, was the assistant principal at Rich Neck Elementary at the time. She was the person who was paid to take care of those children. And around 11:40 a.m., Miss Werner had seen a particular child who you will learn has a long history of discipline issues of which Dr. Parker was already aware well before January 6th of 2023. But Miss Werner observed something about this student that worried her. You're going to hear from her and you're going to hear what that concern was. And then she's going to tell you that she went to Dr. Parker and warned her that this child, who we refer to as JT, was in a violent mood. You'll hear that she said, "I don't know what I'm going to do if he hits me." That is the knowledge that Dr. Parker had of the history of JT, that and more. But at 11:45 a.m., Ms. Werner walks in, tells Dr. Parker that JT is in a violent mood, and Dr. Parker does not respond to her, stares at her blankly for just a moment, and then returns to her work in her office. The warning ignored. You're going to hear that this child's past means that no warning should be ignored, because you're going to hear from a teacher that taught JT the year before. You're going to hear about the violence that that teacher experienced at the hands of a kindergarten. And you're going to hear about the report that that teacher made to Dr. Parker in that year. And that Dr. Parker's response was blank stare, look back down, do nothing. The same response she had at 11:45 a.m. on January 6th, 2023. But that warning was not the only warning. At 12:20, a reading specialist tells Dr. Parker that she thinks maybe JT has a firearm. She says maybe it's a toy, maybe it's real, I don't know. She thinks JT has a firearm. She says, "I'm going to search his backpack." Dr. Parker really doesn't reply to her, but she goes and searches the backpack. Doesn't find anything in the backpack. Meanwhile, there are some concerning observations that are happening on the playground with JT. And you'll learn why teachers and counselors then come to expect that JT has taken that firearm out of his bag and put it into his coat and is carrying it around on a playground full of elementary age students at Rich Neck Elementary School. You're going to hear that he showed it to another brave student, who then reported, young RR reported exactly what he had seen to a teacher. He was terrified, understandably shaken, crying when he reported what he'd seen. At 12:30, that reading specialist goes back to Dr. Parker and says, I think he has the gun in his jacket. Do nothing. His mom will be here soon, she says. I can only imagine how that made RR feel. But around 1 p.m., a counselor goes to Dr. Parker and says, I want to search the child. Can I search his person? She says, no. Mom will be here soon. For over an hour, multiple people went to Dr. Parker and told her there was an armed child at an elementary school running around with, interacting with children in the classroom, children on the playground, children in the hallways. Multiple warnings brought directly to her. She says, do nothing. Does she say, search the child? No. Does she say, call the police, or does she call the police? No. Does she remove the child from the classroom and separate it? No. She didn't even get up from her desk. She didn't even leave her office. Warning after warning after warning, she did nothing. The crisis in this case did not begin with the firing of a gun. The crisis in this case began at 11:45 a.m. when Ms. Werner initially warned Dr. Parker that there was a problem. That was the moment Dr. Parker should have left the office and investigated what was going on. There is a moment that will be described to you by a witness on the stand this morning, where after all that she now knows, all the suspicions that she's now heard, and repeatedly she's heard people that Ms. Kovac and others are going and telling Dr. Parker, she sees JT in the classroom wearing the big coat. She's nervous, and if in an instant she sees him pull out that gun and aim it directly at her face. And before she has a chance to do anything but raise her hand up, JT fires that weapon. It hits Miss Werner. At the moment that he fires that weapon, there are 19 children. Right there. And that's why I tell you that this case is not about Miss Werner. This case is about the 19 children whose lives were endangered in that moment, but in the moments before as well. Those children were, some of them, between the gun and Miss Werner. Some of them, a slight movement of the gun could have hit a child instead of Miss Werner. They're right there. Some standing shoulder to shoulder with the shooter. All of them, you'll learn, watched as their teacher clutched her chest and bled before these children, screaming in horror, ran across the hallway to another teacher's classroom, and Miss Werner ran to the office and collapsed on the floor. Where, at that point, was Dr. Parker? She had locked herself down in her office. Was the school on lockdown? Not yet. still no. But a few minutes after Miss Werner enters the room, a receptionist, Miss Oliveria, does finally put the school on lockdown. I commend her for doing that. She should have had to, and it was too little too late. Back in Miss Werner's classroom, Miss Kovac has shown up, the reading specialist I told you about earlier. She knows JT, she knows his history, and when she heard that gunshot, she knew exactly what happened, and she went straight into that classroom. She found in that classroom the gun lying on the floor. You'll learn that that gun contains 7 rounds, one of which, 7 rounds plus one that was jammed in the action of the firearm. So 8 that was unspent. Amy Kovac enters that room and she just puts JT in a bear hug as she calls 911. She holds that child there until police arrive. She will tell you that that whole time she was saying he was cursing. He was saying, explaining that he shot his teacher. And she was saying, like the consummate faculty teacher she is, don't use that bad language, you know better. She's just doing the best she can to control the situation alone in a classroom where a teacher has just been shot. Ms. Kovac, the reading specialist, also the one who searched the book bag after telling Dr. Parker that's what she's going to do. A task that I don't think reading specialists are supposed to do in an emergency. And the reason that I don't think that is because school policy at the time said exactly that. Rich Neck had adopted a crisis management plan. And that plan required teachers and faculty members to report crisis situations to administrators, and it required administrators to take actions. One such policy from the Newport News Handbook, you'll learn, was that in terms of searching a student, that could only be done by an administrator or a school security officer. And at the time of this shooting, there was no school security officer at this building. They shared their security officer with another building. And so the security officer was at the other school. So at the moment of this crisis, there were exactly two people in the building who had the authority under the policy to take action. And those two people were the principal, Ms. Newton, and the assistant principal, Dr. Parker. But let me remind you of how I started today. There was only one person that had both the knowledge of the ongoing crisis and the authority to act. While Ms. Newton, the principal, certainly had the authority to act, she had no idea about any of this. Because Dr. Parker, nor anyone else, bothered to tell her. Ms. Newton, you'll learn, didn't get any of these suspicions that day. She didn't know any of this was happening until there was a gunshot. So she had authority, but no knowledge that there was a problem. It's only Dr. Parker that had both of those things. When you hear from these faculty members, they will tell you that they wish they had violated the policy. In hindsight, there'll be no question. They regret it. They regret following Newport News policy. They will tell you to a person that they wish they had just searched the kid and gotten the gun, or they wish they had just called the police. That's what That's what they say in hindsight. And you know what? I would bet that Dr. Parker also wishes she had done differently. I do. But here's the difference. The policies that were in place enabled, in fact, required Dr. Parker to act. The teachers, on the other hand, and faculty, if they were to act, they'd be acting against the policies that were in place that day. And that is a significant difference. There was only one person in the school that day that had both the authority to act and the knowledge of an ongoing crisis. And that person, you'll see, was Dr. Parker. Many people knew the crisis had begun. 2 people had the authority to do something about it, but only one person had both. During the course of this trial, we are going to mention a lot of initials. We're not saying the names of the children because we don't want to put their names out there to let this be their story further. So we're asking everyone that testifies, and all of the personnel will definitely be using initials. I say that because that's going to be a lot of initials. The judge talked to you about taking notes earlier, and it is your choice. These will be distributed to those who wish to take notes here in a few moments. Let me encourage you that almost all of the important evidence in this case is going to come out piece by piece by piece, puzzled little detail by little detail from several witnesses who will take the stand and testify. And all you'll have is your memory when we read back to you as the court deciding to ask a question, and they're always told by the judge, we can't answer that question. Giving you that heads up. The judge instructs you on the lowest details in order to really pay attention to refresh your own memory, because January 6, 2023, 20 students went into Miss Warner's classroom, and their lives were forever changed. The trauma that they experienced is unspeakable, and you will hear from some of the parents about that trauma. That shouldn't have happened. And the one person who had both the authority and the knowledge that a crisis was ongoing is the reason that it happened. And we think at the end, the evidence will show you exactly.
All right, let's unpack that. Anybody have anything they want to start with? Anything at all? I see Tina has given us the information of the judge's name, Rebecca Robertson. Tina, I want to ask you, you said that you, Miss White, Ebony Parker is the assistant principal at the school of which one of the students shot their teacher. Right, Lady Wusa. Tina, I want to ask you, you said that you blew it for a reason, that you had your reasons. Can you tell us why? What's your reason for telling us ahead of time what the verdict was, what the outcome was? I'd like to know. In my opinion, I have a few things that, a few reactions or opinions about what was said by the by by the prosecutor. I have a few things. One, let me see, the babies have to heal, and being that I live in that state, that's why you told us that she that the charges were dropped is because the babies have to heal? I don't understand that. What does one thing have to do with the other, love? And what does where you live or the fact that you live in that state have to do with telling us the outcome of the trial? The students are gonna have to heal regardless if we have watched the whole trial without knowing or you telling us. They're gonna have to heal regardless. And you living in that state, you're gonna live there rather or not we watch the whole trial without knowing the outcome. So I don't get it, love. Miss White said, I don't blame them because YouTube is becoming very messy and disturbing. It is. It is, Miss White. You've got to have a certain kind of skin, a certain, you got to be able to compartmentalize when it comes to YouTube. Some people get emotionally invested and they can't compartmentalize it, like emotionally. And some people, they carry it subconsciously. Like they don't even know that it's affecting them the way that it is until stuff starts to happen with them. And luckily, some of our people had the wherewithal to say, I got to go and protect my peace. Right? I tell you guys that all the time. Please protect your peace. If you can't deal with the details, because I'm going to give the story as thoroughly as I can. You have the control of your mute button as well as, backing up out of the live altogether. Right? And so I give you guys power of your autonomy and do what it is that you guys need to do. And I'm going to reiterate that. Please protect your peace. Tina says, I live in the city, and because it's personal to me, is because my niece and nephews and grandchildren. Tina, what I'm saying to you, boo, is, and I don't know if I'm asking the question the right way so that you can understand. And you guys can chime in here. And then we're not gonna beat the dead horse about it. To me, one has nothing to do with the other. Where you live, where your nieces and nephews and grandchildren live, has nothing to do with you telling us the outcome of the trial. That's all I'm saying. I am not negating the importance of the trial to you and those that you love. I am not negating anybody's opinion about the outcome of the trial. All I'm simply saying is, in my opinion, you didn't have to tell us that. Because what happened the day or the moment after you heard the outcome happened anyway. It did not change the trajectory of your life in any kind of way. Yet the things that you're bringing up would if you had taken different actions. Like if at the end of that trial you got up, packed up, grabbed your nieces and nephews and grandchildren and your daughter, you know what I mean, and left town, then I can see you saying, you know what I mean, that that affected you that way. And but still, you know what I mean? The outcome of this trial has no bearings on any of us. The only bearings that it may have is that some idiot is sitting in a dark spot being negatively affected by this woman, quote unquote, getting off. You know what I mean? But that's Virginia. So let's see how that's going to work out, right? Lady said, I'm like, wow, that the courts pretty much, it's like this is not a crime. It was the judge's decision. From what I understand, I don't know. I thought part of this was strictly, I thought in somewhere in some of my research, I heard them say that it was not a jury, it was a judge trial. But here in this opening statements, it looked as if he was talking to a jury. So I'm confused on that, lady, but I get you. Now, on one hand, and please, guys, come on, talk to me, Miss White, Steptoe, come on, y'all. Buttercup, jump in here, y'all. I feel like the assistant principal should have done more. Now, we haven't heard her side of the story yet, and we're gonna hear it. But right now, just reacting to the prosecutor, and don't get me wrong, prosecutors, they have a fight in the dog in the fight, just like defense attorneys do, and they spin shit just like defense attorneys do, right? They want to win just like defense attorneys do. They want to keep their job too, and so they put a little more spice on it than oftentimes what really exists, right? But in any case, I feel like the vice principal didn't do enough. I feel like she did it. I feel like she left that responsibility, being one of the only two people that could do anything about if something had been found in that book bag. She left it to someone that has no authority to do anything to go and check. And I feel like that was wrong. That was her job to do. Or to get up off her ass or pick up her phone and call the principal and say, hey, we got a problem. Can you come to my office, or are you busy? Can I come to your office? We need to talk. We got to do something right now. That's what I feel like she should have done. And she didn't. Right? Because like the prosecutor said, and there are some things that prosecutors just can't lie about. Right? Because if they are lying, the defense could have, and I don't know if the defense gave an opening statement, but we'll see. Could come back and say, yeah, the prosecutor lied to y'all. 10 people in that building had the power to do something, the authority to do something. Tina said the protectors wasn't working that day when this happened. She says Ebony Parker wouldn't be teaching or supervising my child or grandchildren or nieces or nephews. Sorry, but not sorry. Hear you, babe. I hear you. I feel like she owes those students, their parents, that teacher, and her loved ones an explanation as to why she did it. She wasn't more diligent in her duties. Why didn't she contact the principal, which is her boss, and let her know, or him know, I think it was a her, what was going on? Why didn't she get up off her ass, get to that classroom, and get that book bag. Isolate that student. They could have put the student in the office. I'm not saying isolate him where there's no one around, but they could have taken that student in the office to the principal and them to, while calling his parents and the police, talk to him and inadvertently isolating him and keeping everyone else in that school safe. I feel like that's what she should have done. You know what I mean? She didn't do enough for me. I can't wait to hear the reasons why this judge let her off, because I don't agree. You know what I mean? Hey, Miss Robin. I don't know if I spoke to you earlier. I don't remember seeing your name, but thank you for joining us, love. I do. I can't wait to hear the judge's justification for letting Ebony Parker, Dr. Parker, off, because I wouldn't have. She was derelict in her duties. She was. Had that child shot other students, then what? You know what I mean? Luckily, he didn't while he was outside in the playground playing. Luckily, he didn't get it in his head. Let's play cops and robbers. You know what I'm saying? Pow, pow, I got you type of childish stuff that they do. Luckily, he didn't do that, because then this conversation would be much different. So yeah, in my opinion, she was derelict in her duties. Now, the teacher that did go and check the backpack, why didn't any of that other staff go to the principal? When the assistant principal said, yeah, talk to you later, you go do that, I would have felt some type of way as a teacher. I would have said to myself, wait a minute, chickie, this ain't even my job. You supposed to be doing this, right? Or you and Miss Principal supposed to be doing this. Don't be telling me, yeah, good job, thank you. Don't be doing, get up off, hey, Miss Wilson, get up off your ass, come check this shit yourself, little girl. I'm going to tell. And I would have went right to the principal. So I'm wondering why none of the other staff, including the victim in this, right? Including the victim in this, why didn't they go and tell the principal? Right? So I think they should have. That's just me. I think they should have. I think it was their duty to do that as well. Hold on one second, please, y'all. Okay, I'm back. Thanks, guys. Okay, so exactly, Miss White. None of us are. And Tina is not allowing us to all together come to, learn about this case. You know what I mean? She's kind of jumping ahead of us, and it's kind of frustrating me because I don't want to ignore anyone in the chat but I want everybody to kind of follow along at the same time. However, it's in the chat, so I'll read it. Tina said the mother spent 2 years in jail. The mother's name is Deja Taylor. The mother has a rap sheet an arm long. I don't care what the mother has. The only thing that the mother is only responsibility that the mother holds in this situation to me is the fact that she did not secure the firearm, if that's where her child got it from. That's the only thing. Far too often we bring the parents in this as if it's the parents' fault, other than where they put the firearm. Right? The parents should have been paying attention to what the hell was in her kid's book bag, yes. But her rap sheet don't have nothing to do with it, Tina. The reasons why she went to jail has nothing to do with it. I don't know what her rap sheet says, but I've been to jail my damn self. You know why? To feed my motherfucking kids when I was a single mother of 3. Okay? Let's keep it a being here. Oftentimes, our rap sheets don't have anything to do with it. It doesn't. Now, I don't mean to sound like I'm being abrasive with you, but we got to, you know what I'm saying? We got to think about stuff. Hey, Ray from PA. Hey, boo, thank you for joining us. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know, maybe you do. I don't know if the gun was registered, if the mother had it legally or illegally, if someone in the house had it legally or illegally. The fact that the kid was able to get a hold of it is all. That's it. What the mother went to jail for, how long her rap sheet is, it ain't the point. It's not. People turn over a new leaf every day. And it's comments like that for the reason why a lot of people say, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. And that's not cool. What the mother should have done is properly gotten her kids ready for school and checked his book bag to make sure that he had in it what he needed. And therefore, inadvertently, she would have figured out what was in there. Fact of the matter is, she could have had the gun in the doggone car. And he picked it up and put it in the book bag when she wasn't looking. Do we know that? I don't think it was ever said. I don't know. We haven't gotten that far yet. Tina says the little boy was supposed to be supervised at the school. The parents were supposed to be at the school with the little boy, but no one came that day. I don't know if you've left the chat, Tina, but what do you mean by that? The parents were supposed to be at the school with the little boy. I don't understand what you mean by that. So if you're still here, can you elaborate, please? I understand what supervision means, but why were the parents supposed to be there at the school with the little boy? Is this like on a daily basis? I don't understand. I heard them speaking about him being a disciplinary problem. You know what I mean? So I understand that part, but well, perhaps you've left. Okay. Okay. In his IEP, he was supposed to be okay, Tina. I said I understand the supervised part. What I'm asking is, what do you mean by the parents were supposed to be there at the school with the little boy, but no one came that day? I'm asking you to elaborate on that, love. I don't understand that part. What I mean is, is a parent supposed to sit in with him every day, or were they supposed to come when this happened? I don't, you know what I mean? Can you tell us a little bit more? because they were supposed to be there every day. Okay. So then, okay, Tina, thank you for that, love. So then now I'm looking at the principal. Now I'm looking at whoever did the attendance and saw that whomever was supposed to be there to supervise him was not there. That child with those kinds of restrictions should have been sent to the office immediately or taken to the office immediately until said restrictions were being adhered to. See, the responsibility is a mighty, mighty thing. And if everybody don't do their part, this kind of stuff happens. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know why he even walked through that door by himself in the first place. If someone was supposed to be there every day, as in a parent or a supervisor, like supervised by whom, Tina? Did they specify that? Who was supposed to supervise him every day? I think that's a good question. I wish you'd just come up here on the panel, but it would make it a whole lot easier than in the chat, but it's okay. Do you know, Tina, who was supposed to supervise him every day? Staff, parent, okay, the guardians, grandfather, grandmother, and mother were supposed to supervise him every day. Okay. So, with that being said, when he walked through that door alone, he should have been redirected right to the office. He should have been taken to the office immediately. This would have never happened because he would have already been, you know what I mean, away from the classroom. It's not to say that whatever he had planned, it wouldn't have happened in the office, but at least he wouldn't have been in. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody would have contacted his family. Somebody, come and get him. He got to go. There's no one here to supervise him. He can't stay in school today. And hopefully, clap your hands, job is done. Chaos diverted. So see, a whole lot of people dropped the ball that day. Miss White says, Sean B, I just started not engaging in the channels anymore. I'm subscribed to only a few channels for Justice for Romika, and I stay out the comments. That's it, and that's all. Too messy for me. Okay, boo. You okay, Miss White? I don't know. This YouTube thing, it's got emotions fried. Miss White, is everything okay? Or are you a little behind us? I think Miss White is a little behind us. She's I think she's commenting on what I said earlier about some people wanting to get off of YouTube. Okay. She had me worried for her for a minute there. So, back to this. Whichever one of the family members' day it was to supervise him, whoever responsibility was dedicated to, if you want me to, I could come up on the panel. Tina, are you gonna jump ahead of us? Or are you gonna go along? You're just gonna follow along and then, you know what I mean? Because you be blowing it for us, boo. You got a big ass whistle in your mouth. You just be blowing it. Like, the score is gonna be I'm gonna play fair. Oh no. No, I'm just joking. You gonna come right up here and you gonna say something that we don't know yet, and you gonna blow the whole doggone thing. I know you are, but I'm gonna give you a chance though, boo. I'm gonna give you a chance. I am. All right. There's the link. Let's see how Tina come up and play. But yeah, I feel like whoever day it was, if that's the way things were truly supposed to be, then they dropped the ball. Number one. Then there's the assistant principal. When she was given word that this student had a weapon in his possession, she was supposed to jump up from behind that desk and turn into Wonder Woman for all of those children and the staff, because that staff is underneath her and she's underneath the principal. That's what she was supposed to do. And if that ain't what she did, if she didn't go and tell the principal because the prosecutor said she didn't know, she should have. Okay, Tina, letting you up, Bo. Unmute your mic, love. Unmute. Turn your mic on, because you got it muted right now. Tina, unmute your mic.
That hello.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. I'm playing fair.
We'll see.
Don't play with me.
Okay. So you said, okay, I'm going to let you, in your own words, explain again the importance of, in your opinion, why you blew the whistle. Hey, Terry. Hey, Mr.
Well,
Terry.
the reason why I blew the whistle is because the babies do need to heal from all this, and yeah, and I live in a state that I
You got to mute.
okay, I live in the same state as this.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And the babies just need to take the time out and to heal.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And it's messed up how the judge done this. It's like the teacher got paid and the principal just walked away.
Okay. That is your opinion of what happened. What I'm asking is, why did you blow the whistle on us? Like, why did you tell us the outcome before we had a chance to watch it, is what I'm saying.
Okay, well I got overly excited.
There you go.
I got overly excited. And when Tay said, the school, and I was like, oh, well, I could tell you right now, the principal got away and the teacher got paid. So there you go.
Right, right. So I'm
Okay.
understanding now. You were like, she got off.
Uh,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand your impulsiveness. You were excited. You were disappointed. I get it. I really do. I understand.
And, the principal is African American and the teacher is white.
Mm-hmm. And the judge is African American as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And it's not a racial thing. I think it's messed up. Yes, I do. Um, she wouldn't be teaching my well, let me just say this. The principal wouldn't be teaching nothing of mine or supervising nothing of mine. Okay. It's like if I okay, so like um say like this, okay. So I'm a home caregiver, right?
Right.
So if my client, shoots me in the foot. I'm going to be looking at my company, and I'm going to be looking at his sister, okay? Because he's, not right in the head, okay?
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to be looking at both of them, okay?
Right.
So, Abby Zorner, I can't remember her last name, but Abby, she was looking at the principal for help. Then she went to the school board. Then she sued the school board.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So that's where that 10,
And she won, right?
yes, she did.
Thus far.
Right.
Because they're saying that because the assistant principal, Dr. Ebony Parker, has been um, acquitted of the charges, this could change the decision of the civil suit.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And so I got a problem with it. I've already said that the responsibility lied with that assistant principal. And if she didn't want to be responsible, she should have gotten in contact with the principal and put it in her hands. You know what I mean? Since
Yes,
she
ma'am.
obviously had so much other shit to do, she should have called her boss, which is the principal, and told her what was going on and let the principal take over. That's what she should have done, and she didn't. And because she did it, everything after that was derelict of her duties. And she left it in the hands of somebody who, had they found the weapon, could not ultimately, within the rights anyway, and responsibilities, do anything about it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like this. Let's say me and you are at the house together and somebody calls us and says, yo, Doobie around the corner fighting. And you jump up and go. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you go ahead. You take care of that, Tina. That's not your responsibility.
No.
There's nothing you could have stopped the fight, but why didn't I get up? You know what I mean? That's one, it's my child. One, she's the assistant principal. Two,
Right.
I heard about it just like you did. Two, she heard about it. It was brought to her first by a few different people, but she never jumped into action. And therefore, in my opinion, she should not have been acquitted of those charges. I wouldn't give a damn what color she is. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm sorry for jumping ahead, but if you know the case backwards and forwards, I get excited. I'm sorry, y'all.
No,
I'm
no, no, no.
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We
But
accept your apology.
but but the mother did go to jail behind this.
Yes, I knew that. I just hadn't said it yet.
Oh, sorry. Oops. I blew the whistle on that one. Sorry.
If she hasn't been released yet, she should be on her way out now, right?
She's already out.
Oh, see. I think she was sentenced to 2 years, and then you do like what, 18 months,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So, um, can you tell us what charges the mother served
Mm,
for?
mm. Let's see. She got DUI.
According to this, babe. According to this case.
Oh, I was gonna go to the rap sheet. I'm sorry.
Lord, lady, listen, Miss White, step toe. Tina was about to undress that bitch, okay? Tina was about to tell us what that hoe had for breakfast, okay? Okay, go ahead, Tina.
Y'all know what? Y'all can go ahead now. No, no, Miss Sharby. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I love you, boo. I love you.
I love you too.
So,
You go ahead.
listen, tell us.
No, you listen. You tell us.
You got it.
Boo boo, you got
Oh,
it.
come on, Tina.
Okay, so she, she did go to jail for possession of the firearm
Okay.
because if I remember correctly, it was registered under her name. I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Uh-huh.
But she did go to jail. But yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
it was for possession, but I think it goes further than that for like not securing the weapon properly, right?
yeah, yep.
Okay. So some kind of neglect charge.
Yes, there you go. I wanted you to say it.
Whatever, girl. I ain't going. Stop that.
You know what? We had like two clowns on the phone, and we act like two clowns now.
And y'all know what? This is how me and Tina talk on the phone too.
Every time.
So lady says yes, she pleaded guilty of child neglect and gun charges. All right. See, lady, you could have came up here with us.
Yeah, come on up here with us, lady. Come on.
She ain't gonna do it.
I
Lady
know it.
not gonna do it.
I know it.
Lady sitting there right now smiling like, no,
Oh,
no, no. I'm
we
good.
already got the whistler up on the panel. I was going to give you the whole breakfast.
You was gonna give us the whole sleeve of her jacket. Okay.
Oh, God. Oh,
So,
my
okay, so
God.
what do you think about what the prosecutor said in his opening statement? What do you think about that?
Well, I think he's right about that.
Right.
Ebony should have gotten her up and went downtown. I mean, when I say downtown, I mean down the hallway, y'all,
Uh-huh.
and seen what happened and see what was going on. You
Mhm.
know what she said on the now let me tell you what she said on the news, y'all. So
Okay.
what she said was, I'm talking about Ebony Parker. Stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. So what Ebony Parker said up there on the news thing, she said the reason why she didn't go down there is because the kids was testing. What? Wait, whoa. Wait a minute. I can feel Sean B.
Mm.
brain just firing up, y'all. I could see it. What the hell do you mean that she couldn't go down there because of the kids testing? Well, that's what the lady said. Now go ahead, Sean.
Listen, I couldn't have said that better myself. The hell one thing got to do with another.
Like you always tell me, Tina, what the hell? I don't give a. I
Damn,
heard every drop of the cuss word.
period. You know what I'm
That part.
saying? Because ultimately speaking, testing was interrupted anyway, wasn't it?
Yep.
I dare say school was interrupted all together. Damn
Yep.
a test. I bet the parents was like, fuck you and that test. I'm coming to get my child.
But see, I work in Newport News, so let me just set the mood. Okay. So when I'm sitting with my client, and you could just hear the fire trucks and the paramedics and the cops just going down the street, flying down the street, and you want to know what's going on. So I hopped on Facebook, and guess what? This is what I saw, you
Okay.
know? And you should seen the cops just, everywhere at the school, and the kids was coming out crying and upset, and the parents was like, I can't find my child. Could you please help me find my child?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was crazy, y'all.
They probably, oh, excuse me. I believe that the police were reacting the way they always all do.
Yep.
It's like one, and in this case, I agree. One, it's at a school. Two, it's a school shooting. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And a lot of them may not have known that the per se shooter was in control. They were brought under control, right?
Right.
I understand that one of the teachers, the reading specialist, is who came in and put that child in a bear hug and got down on the floor with that child and held that child in that bear hug, took control of that weapon and held him there until the police could get there. All during this time, he was using expletives. And the reading teacher, kept telling him to keep him calm. She's talking to him like a teacher does. Such things as, you stop using that kind of language. You know, we don't talk that way. Just trying to keep him calm.
Right.
All the while, the teacher is laying there bleeding out. Now, God's grace, she survived. But and so yeah, the emergency reaction that you're hearing in the distance, I believe, was indicative of them getting a call of a school shooting. You understand
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? They didn't know
Yes, ma'am.
it. And you know, God's grace, he only aimed at one person, because they said that there were students standing next to her, the teacher, the victim, and some students standing next to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can speculate here that maybe she was sitting at her desk, maybe she was standing somewhere in the room. And y'all know how it is. It's calamity after recess. You know what I mean? Students all around needing to settle down and get in their desks, and let's proceed on with the rest of the school day. And this is when that happened, directly after recess. And so, yeah, it could have been a lot worse than what it was, and thank God it wasn't. And so I think that's the response that you were hearing in the distance.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you can stay up here with me though. I'm gonna play this right here.
Well, I'm gonna drop down so that way I can see too, because I
Oh,
want to see
okay,
everybody's reactions.
babe. Okay, babe.
Okay. Can you
All right.
drop me down?
Yep, hold on 1 second.
Okay, thank you.
I'm here to first ask if you are giving permission for me to record this session to discuss the incident that occurred at Richmond on Friday.
Yes.
Okay. So as part of our internal investigation, I have some questions for you. I do ask that you please answer the questions honestly. Also ask that you please keep our investigative conversation confidential, so that to maintain the integrity of the investigation, because I do have several people I need to speak with. Okay? Okay. So, Dr. Parker, let's start with Friday. Were you given any knowledge prior to the actual shooting that the student had a weapon?
I was told that students reported that the student had a weapon in his backpack.
Do you know? Go ahead.
So, Ms. Kovac, we're allowed to use names, right?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, so Ms. Kovac was the one who informed me of this. And she said that she had already asked the student, is there something in your backpack? And he said no, but she had brought it to me. The class was about to go outside to recess. So I said, well, when they go outside to recess, we can check his backpack. I was in the midst of the winter growth assessment, putting off tickets and such. So I didn't go into the classroom with her. When she came back, she says, there's nothing, I didn't see anything in his backpack. And I said, okay. And she says, but, what about in his pocket? And I said, well, I don't know. Are they going out to recess? She said, yes. She was also my person that was helping me with testing. So I don't know if she went outside or not, but there was a comment that said, well, we watched him closely. Assuming she meant herself and the teacher. And I said, okay. And then I went on with testing.
So was all of that conversation from Ms. Kovac all at the same time, or did she come back to you with the comment about we watching him?
She came back.
Okay. So, do you remember approximately what time it was when she reported to you, the students reported that he had a weapon?
They were going outside for recess at 12:20, so it was right before that. So I don't know how far between them, but I know from the time that she said it to the time that they went outside for recess, it wasn't very long.
I got a problem with that. I got a problem with this assistant principal. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I got a problem with that. Right? Because I used to work in the capacity where if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. Some of you guys that's in the chat, I don't know in what capacity you all have worked or still work, but I know some of y'all do. If something, if something comes to you guys that should be documented and you don't, it didn't happen. Y'all understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying literally it didn't happen, but the fact of the matter is she should have documented that. Exactly, Tina said, I know that I have to document everything that my client goes through. Exactly. Lady Mysterious, I know that in your job capacity, you see what I'm saying? And there's a reason for that. And this right here is one of them. Even if she had just grabbed a pen and just jotted down, teacher so-and-so just came and told me that they believe that student so-and-so has a firearm in his book bag. It's this time. Excuse me. Even if she had done that. But then that would mean that she would actually have been diligent in her duties. And she wasn't. She instead was derelict in her duties. And that's very unfortunate. All of this, I'm not sure. It was a few minutes before that. No, Chickie, we need details. We're talking about, in this day and age, we're talking about a student being accused of having a firearm. In this day and age, the chances are he does or she does. You know what I mean? Now, 30 years ago, somebody would have said, nah, come on. Are you kidding me? It's probably a toy. Not these days. These days, we jump to assume that it's real. And then we go through that process of elimination of saying, it was just a toy. She should have been more diligent. Shame on her.
Okay. Did you report this to Ms. Foster?
I did not. I did not. She was in a meeting with a military counselor that we were supposed to be getting, and I was supposed to be going into that meeting at 1. That was at the meeting was at 1, and I didn't make it into that meeting. But because I was in the midst of testing, I don't leave my office when we're in testing to maintain, the testing tickets and the security of that. And so I had not spoken with Ms. Austin.
Okay. So can you tell me, did anyone else come to you before the shooting to tell you that the student had a weapon?
So after we checked his backpack and there was nothing there.
And you say we.
Well, I say we because I said check it. So, but Ms. Kovac went in to check it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I said we because she came to me to ask.
We didn't do shit. This is the United States, Chickie. This ain't France. We did not do a damn thing. You're not included in that search, hun. Just because you said sure, go ahead. You're not included in that. So you don't get to say we to try to negate your dereliction of duties. You don't get to say we, love, bug, okay, bookie butt. You don't get to say we. Because we didn't do shit. Like we should have. The fuck?
Should we check his backpack? Do we check his backpack? Mr. Rawls, after that situation was settled, came back into my office and he said, hey, did you hear what they said about? I said, yeah, I heard. I said, but we checked his backpack. And again, I'm still using we, but it was Miss Kovac. I said, his backpack was checked. We didn't see anything. And he says, oh, okay. Did you check the person? And I said, ooh, no, we didn't. And I remember looking at the clock and it was 1:40. And this particular student is on a modified schedule. So I said, his mom is due to come here soon. So when his mom comes, we need to inform her of what was said, what we did, and then she can, we'll let her go through the rest of his things and check it. He nodded his head and he left.
That wasn't the mama's job, Chickie. That was not the mama's job. You gonna let the mama come in your house and do your job? No, you would not. Okay? The mama has no business coming to your job and doing your duties. The mama was coming to deal with, to do whatever it is that she is obligated for her child as far as the schooling or instruction capacity is concerned, not to come and play detective. That was your job, young lady. Period. That's not what the mama wasn't coming there to check his person. The mama was coming there to do whatever it is she's obligated to do per his modified schedule, like she just said. You should have got up off your ass. Yet still here is another faculty coming to you, speaking to you about what they done heard now, okay? And you still sitting on your ass, or you're still not coming out of that office. Neglect.
But those were the only two.
Okay. So help me understand, what is your understanding of what should have taken place from the first notification that you received about the student from Ms. Kovac
Great question.
possibly having a weapon?
What we did In previous times before, we had two other students who also were reported to have a weapon. And we, asked the student, do you have something? If they say, no, we do have someone else come in with us to look in their backpack. But we never searched a student. So because we didn't, Ms. Clark didn't see anything in the backpack, then we didn't do anything.
Just say y'all.
From there. His mother does come in every day, and we have a conversation every day. So,
and when you was
I was waiting for mom to come in.
So in the past protocols of what you've done, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've brought the student into your office, and you, along with who else?
So the first time it was Mr. Rawls, and then the second time it was an incident of a parent had already called the police because the report was given to her from her son. So she had already called the police. So the second time it was the police was at the school.
Okay, all right. Had Mrs. Warner on that Friday come to you and express concern about the student's behavior, or did she express that she thought the student had a weapon?
No. So Ms. Warner never said that she thought that the student had a weapon, and she never said to me directly that it was reported to her that the student had a weapon. So I was about to get the PM session of the testing started, and she came into my office and she said, is being extremely defiant today. And she says, if he hits me, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I acknowledged what she said, and I said, okay. And then she left. So I told Miss Kovac, because they were going to go grab the kids, I said, if she feels that he's being, uncontrollable, she can't control him, tell her to call his mother so she can come and pick him up early, is what I said. But no, Miss Warner never came to me and said anything about her fearing that the student had a weapon or that she felt.
Girl, don't you come with no waterfalls. I don't want to hear that shit. No. First of all, what is this called a parent? What about removing the distraction from the classroom? Putting them in a secure location such as, what's that thing called? It's got a bunch of desks, and there are file cabinets, and there are bulletins all over the wall, and there is policy and procedures up on the wall, and rules of the school, and it's a couple of secretaries, and the office. The office. What happened to bringing the student down to the office? What happened to that part? Hey, Tay, I was talking about you about an hour and 28 minutes and 56 seconds ago. I did. I said, we're going to wait for Tay because Tay wanted us to cover this. But I saw you in the YouTube street scared. You and Special K. I was sitting back watching old girl. She a cool chick. Yeah. I told you we would. And so we have been. And we waited for you for a few minutes. Okay. I think I started at 8:45. I said 7. But because I knew you were over at somebody else's house, I waited for you to finish partying and stuff and come on over. So even though I started late, I did. We waited for you. Tay said, yeah, I stopped by the first time since this morning, but I was coming home from work. I spoke to everybody. And I ain't even get to listen to that, love. I'm upset now. It's okay. You can catch the replay, boo. And we're not done. We're not finished. We're just halfway through. We only heard the opening statement, and now we're listening to a Q&A with her and I guess an investigator of the situation. Okay? Don't be mad, baby. Don't be mad. But yeah, call the mother. Call the mother. What you get? I need somebody to tell me what do this chick get paid to do? Because thus far she ain't did shit. Like seriously, all she get paid to do is monitor testing. Like seriously, that shit is crazy. Call the mama. Call the mama. Take my kid to the office and then call me. Take my kid away so that they're no longer a distraction because the other students in the classroom deserve undivided attention of their instructors, their teachers, their trainers, whatever it is, right? Take my kid to the office and I'm on my way. But don't just leave them there to further be a distraction, because then crap like this happens and it becomes a dangerous environment. Like, come on, man.
I'm saying she did it. She didn't say it.
Okay, all right, take your time. Had Ms. Warner, prior to Friday, ever expressed to you that she had concerns or felt unsafe with this particular student?
No, so has been on a modified schedule since the beginning of the year. His acting out was he's extremely defiant, and he does the exact opposite of what he's asked to do. And it was making it difficult for her to do instruction in the classroom. So we sat down and we made a modified schedule. We had things in place. So somebody was getting the bus. He was going to Miss McBurnett's room.
Okay, Tay says, so now I will say in New York they don't play that. Right. Tay says if your kid is doing too much, they might reach out to the parent. But if they're still continuing, they will leave them in the office and call you still. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know why it's repeating itself, but absolutely. You know what I mean? That by the time I get a call, my kid already in the office. Tina says this could have been a hell of a lot worse as she thought about it. And I think that's what these tears is for. These tears are guilt tears. These tears are, I know I fucked up. Because a lot of times we don't get the weight of our fuck up until we hear it. You know how some people or your parent would say when you say, I'm sorry, they say, you're sorry for what? Tell me what you're sorry for. And then once you get to saying it, you're actually hearing it. You know what I mean? It's like the opposite of when you're trying to talk to a person and they keep cutting you off. They're cutting you off because they don't want to hear you say it, because then they can't deny it, right? They have to address it at that point, right? Well, she's having to address it in her mind. I really fucked up. Tay says, oh man, I want to say stuff, but I don't want to say too much if y'all didn't get to that point. Because isn't she the, yes, this is the assistant principal. Mm-hmm. It is. Yes, this is the assistant principal. Tay, if you want, you can come up, girl. Tina done blew the wig off of a whole lot of stuff. So if you want to come up and talk, you can. It's a lot easier than talking into the mic, because then stuff come up crazy. But I'll continue.
to do a social story. He was then transitioned to Ms. Kovac for a 15, 20-minute small group session before he spent time in his classroom. And Wednesday, he had asked to come to the office and he said no. Ms. Warner said no, he couldn't come to the office. And he took her phone and like threw it down. So it cracked her screen. Ms. Foster and myself, I sat in the meeting, but Ms. Foster had, facilitated the meeting that afternoon with Ms. We told, hey, no damage that it is to the teacher's phone. We'll let you know. She understood that she was prepared to pay for it and everything. So, in hindsight, that evening,
out the mama's name. I'm sure.
I spoke with Miss Foster, and she said, I really think I'm going to call his mom back because he should have gotten a consequence for what he did. And I said, well, yeah, but I was following her. So I said, okay. She called back. Was not in school Thursday. And then when he came back Friday, those were the events of Friday.
Okay, all right. So just to be clear, at any point in time prior to Friday, did Ms. Warner ever report to you that she had concerns about the student or about her safety with that student?
No. The concerns were around the student and his behavior. Never has she said, I feel unsafe.
So when she made the statement to you, if he hits me, I don't know what I'm going to do. Can you tell me where that came from?
So that Wednesday, where I feel it came from was that Wednesday when he took her phone and threw it down, he went to a buddy classroom, which was Miss West. And what Miss West reported to Miss Newton was that he was like pinching at her, but I did not get I didn't get the full report of that incident. So when she said that, me knowing that was what was reported Wednesday, that's where I think that came from.
Okay. Was there ever?
Absolutely, Tay. Tay says, I get where she's coming from. Tay said, I get what she's saying between the two. But if it's concerning, it's still your responsibility to handle it. And I get that these teachers are overwhelmed because she's just the assistant principal. The assistant principal, in my opinion, is what it says, the assistant to the principal. If the principal is otherwise detained, right, taking care of such things as meetings and phone calls and administrative things, right? The assistant principal is to take care of the situations of the school. And she failed. Right, in acting principal, exactly. Because the opening statement made us aware, Tay, that the assistant principal and the principal were actually the only ones with the responsibility and the ability to act on whatever it is that's going on. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, the assistant principal and the principal, if they find something that's wrong, they have the ability to handle it. Whereas the teachers only have the ability, after knowing that something is wrong, bringing it to the principals. Yet this chickie sat there after hearing about what was going on, allotted that responsibility to go check his book bag to a teacher. And she should not have done that. She should have indeed gotten up off her ass and went and did her job. Tina says she failed the kids, she failed the teachers, and she failed everybody. Absolutely. Tay says exactly. She did. And that's why I don't think she should have been acquitted. Color has nothing to do with this. Because what if the situation were reversed? What if this were a white woman on this screen and a black teacher was shot? Then all of a sudden, she should have not been acquitted. Why? Color has nothing to do with this. This is about the responsibilities that have been afforded and entrusted to this administrator. That's it. That's all. How are you to stand in your obligation as a mandated reporter if you don't get up off your butt and go see what's going on so that you can indeed report? Tay said, but you know, it's so crazy because, wait a minute. Why are your comments repeating themselves? Tay says, but you know, it's so crazy because a lot of principals and assistant principals do put the overwhelm on teachers, which is crazy to me because they don't get paid for that. Exactly. And it's not fair. And hopefully this will wake it up. Y'all know I say to my husband, because he works in a similar capacity, that it always takes, I mean, we see it all over the place, right? It always takes chaos to happen. It always takes something unfortunate to happen before common sense is implemented. Like, I'll just use something that has nothing to do with this. Let's see. Have y'all ever noticed on the news how these 18-wheelers are getting caught under these underpasses? Right? And you say, well, why did they go that way? Like, damn it, you couldn't tell that your truck not going to fit up under that bridge. Y'all know why? Because certain routes are put in place for these 18-wheelers to travel. But it isn't until enough of those 18-wheelers get peeled back, like with a can opener, like it's a tuna can, before somebody says, yeah, we need to pick them another route to go. You see what I'm saying? Like, why common sense couldn't come in before? When the last time has that overpass been measured? Because things shift all the time. So therefore, the measurements and the clearance changes for those 18-wheelers. So when the last time was one measured? It's that kind of stuff I'm referring to. Something always got to happen for a mother to say, uh-oh, we should have. Yeah, it's crazy. Let me see. Tina says, I still feel the same way if it was reversed. I appreciate that, Tina. Lady says, sure do, Tay. Tay said, come on. That was my first job, Boys and Girls Club, the nursery schools during my summer youth days. Absolutely. Tay said, I knew it was for me. Okay. Why? Because they blame anybody that's underneath them. Yeah. Tay says, my sister goes through stuff like this, kids acting out, biting her. She explains to her boss, like, why do I even have to deal with this? She's an assistant teacher. Girl, listen here. Listen here. Not I, says the assistant teacher. Not I. You're not biting me, scratching me, kicking me, pulling my hair, spitting in my face. You're not doing none of that to me. If I see you exhibiting that behavior before I even come close to you, guess what? I'm not coming close to you. It's just not happening. We're going to have a problem. And I'm getting fired that day, right? Because I'm going to teach you what happened. You bite me, I'm going to bite your ass back. And then, my husband can come bail me the fuck out. But dead ass. But that's why I don't work in that kind of capacity. Because I don't have the wherewithal to say, oh, it's all right. They're just a little special. Nah. Tay said, but the crazy part is because they know that she has a structure and most of the kids listen to her. So they put all of that on her. You mean your sister? Well, God bless her, baby. Lady said, listen, Linda, listen. Okay, for the break room one time down, okay? Tina said, me too, Sean B. I will get fired that day. Man, listen, y'all ain't got to take no impressions of my teeth, okay? I am going to admit that this is exactly what I did. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, Tay says, Tay says she don't get paid enough for it. No, she don't. And even if she did get paid for it, she ain't come there to get abused. She don't come there to get abused. She comes there to assist the teacher. Right? Damn that. But let's continue.
A comment made to the teacher that she was overreacting to the student or his behavior? No. Okay. When prior to Friday, had anyone, Ms. Werner or anyone reported to you their concerns about the student or about their safety or possible safety of others in the building because of that student? Okay. So staff stating that administration knew, what is your response?
Your Honor, could we pause the video?
Yes, you can pause. Yes, sir.
Can I have just a moment to talk?
Administration knew. What is your response to that?
I don't know. I don't know because what I did and what we did in the moment with how to support with him is what I thought the teachers, Ms. Warner was asking for. Like, just, I can't get instruction done. He doesn't sit down in his space.
Hold on, guys, because I need to run that back for a second. I need to be patient with me. I need to run this back for a second because I want to make sure that I understand what just happened. Hold on.
Okay. So staff stating that administration knew. What is your response?
Your Honor, could we pause the video?
Yes, you can pause. Yes, sir.
Can You have just a moment to talk.
Administration knew. What is your response to that?
I don't know. I don't know because what I did and what we did in the moment with how to support with him is what I thought the teachers, Ms. Warner was asking for. Like, just, I can't get instruction done. He doesn't sit down in his space. He won't follow directions. Those were the things that Ms. Warner was reporting to me.
Okay. I want to go back real quick because I want to make sure I'm clear on something. Ms. Kovac, check the bag. What is Ms. Kovac's title?
She's our reading specialist.
So help me understand why Ms. Kovac why did you direct Ms. Kovac to check the bag?
That's what I thought I heard. And you damn right, lady. No, not we. No, ma'am. Not we. No. Because we didn't do nothing. Tay said, I don't feel that was her intentions to ignore the situation, but as an assistant principal, she was supposed to act as a present principal. If the principal was not there, and that's where, okay, she went wrong. Exactly, that's where she went wrong. She was derelict in her duties. She was neglectful of her duties. She clearly said that the principal was in a meeting with some military situation. And she said that she was supposed to be in that meeting come 1 o'clock. But I'm assuming due to this happening, she never made it. But had she gotten up, left that office, and went and did her job, not the teacher's job, maybe she could have made that meeting. And the teacher could have finished out her day as a teacher instead of a patient at a hospital having been shot. Tay said, yeah, but I don't want to spoil anything. But didn't she say something about testing? Yeah. She said that she was doing tickets for some testing. Girl, listen, we talking about a gun in a school, Tay. That supersedes anything we're talking about in this climate of our society. Like I said before you came in, love, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, right? Pre-Columbine, all right? Perhaps we could have chuckled at it and said, girl, that gun probably fake. It's a toy. He's a boy. But not today. In 2020, anything. 1990, anything. In today's society, no ma'am. We do not get to take advantage or act as if no big deal. We don't get to turn a blind eye. We have to go the extra step. We have to get up from behind our desks, go into that classroom, separate that kid from that book bag. And even though they checked the book bag and nothing was there, too many people said that he had it. That's number one. And then when they went out to the playground for recess, he was out there showing it. And kids were crying. Kids were running. So no. No. She was supposed to, they could have gotten that thing way before. Listen, recess would have been canceled fucking with me. That classroom would have had to wait. We didn't have to interrupt the whole dang school But that classroom, they wouldn't have been able to move. They wouldn't have been able to move. Y'all understand what I'm saying? One by one, the students would have been brought out of that classroom just for their safety. One by freaking one. Abso-freaking-lutely. I would have made it something, not so much an emergency evacuation, Tay, because that alarms the person with the firearm, right? I would have made it like, girls, let's all take a restroom break, and gotten all the girls out the goddamn room. Y'all see what I'm saying? That's what I would have done. That's what I would have done. Absolutely. I definitely would have. And then one by one, I would have said, okay, fellas, one by one, we're going to go to the restroom. And his name would not have been called. Or if anything, I would have called him first, got him out of that room, into the bathroom where there was no one else. Y'all understand what I'm saying? But that classroom would have been delayed as far as recreation or recess was concerned. Dead ass. Like, seriously, man. They got to stop waiting until chaos happens in order to use their freaking common sense. Tay said, yeah, she should have sent the bolo out to the police just in case. They would have had the right to search the kid's backpack, and she could have gave authorization if she couldn't leave the room. She could leave that room, Tay. She could. At least, listen, I'm not going to say I know the law in Newport News. I'm not going to say I understand what their policies and procedures are, but I know in the schools up here, if there is a weapon involved, that safety of children and faculty supersedes anything. If you can get away, get away. That's it, that's all. That's my word. They teach our children to drop and cover where a gun is concerned. Drop and cover and crawl. That's it, that's all. Get out of that room however you can. If you need to stay in place, get there and stay quiet. That's it. All this, she couldn't leave that room because of some testing. If that is a policy, I bet you they done changed that mother by now. Bet you they changed it now. Because look who's ultimately on trial. I just don't believe that was a law that she couldn't leave that room because of testing, because that right there negates her of any responsibility. Yet she was on trial. Now, I can't wait to hear what the judge say as to why she acquitted her, because if it ain't because of this, that she couldn't leave because of the testing, then we already know that wasn't it. Miss White says that gun should have never gotten into school. Absolutely, Miss White. Absolutely, it shouldn't have. And that's why the mama went to jail. That's why the mama went to jail. Tay says, yes, we have incidents, but once it happens, the law gets even more stricter. Absolutely. Tay says, and that's true. A lot of schools in New York, I don't know the structures in other states, but in New York, they have fire drills and things like that. They even have emergency hide underneath. Absolutely. The table, just in case something happens. Yes. Tay said that's when 911 happened. The schools in New York evacuated. They were reaching out to parents and people that could pick them up. People that lived in the neighborhood. They would allow them to be picked up. Yes. Tay said they didn't play that. No. They have fire drills constantly in New York for these reasons. Absolutely. Every time I turn around, it's something in my email about emergency procedures and fire drills. Tay said, yeah, because to do, they need that was in the right way. I don't understand that one. Tay says, you know what? So crazy because I lived in Richmond. I didn't go to school out there. I didn't have kids at the time. So it's possible in certain states, but I hope they recognize it now. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely.
So in the midst of testing, I don't remove myself from the office. And when the conversation we had was, should we check his bag? And the reason why we waited till they went out to recess is because I couldn't leave to go and check the bag. So
See, Tay, she even said it. I don't remove myself. She didn't say I couldn't leave. She says I don't remove myself. There's a big difference there. You know what I'm saying?
it was my director that said, Ms. Kovac, when they go out to recess, check his bag.
Okay. Did you talk to your resource officer that day?
She was not there.
Okay.
Oh, the resource officer, the actual, I didn't call, no. I didn't call. And our security officer, Ms. Lee, she leaves every day at 2:00.
She was absent, so Ms. Lee was.
I'm sorry, not 2:00, 12:00. And she comes back after McIntosh's dismissal, for our dismissal. So she works in the morning from 9 to 12. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I'm flabbergasted. I have one more video that I'm gonna show. Hold on one second. Let me get these comments. Lady said, well, dang. So are you there for you or the kids? I know that's right. Tay said, Tina, and I don't blame them. Oh, about the clear book bags. Absolutely. Absolutely. We bought, I think we're on book bag number 3 for Doobie because they're made out of shit. You know what I mean? Their books are so heavy, especially in high school. Their books are so heavy, the Chromebooks you have and all that kind of stuff that and the kids throw them around that they rip up, right? They rip at the seams. So yeah. But Tay says, Tina, and I don't blame them, but it's so funny because in New York, when it's junior high school and high school, they have in certain schools scanners that would check the kids. Absolutely. They sure do. Certain high schools right up here, depending on what neighborhood it's in and what school it is. And the reputation of that school. And per that reputation is how they handle the students. Absolutely. Sometimes it's a certain time of the day. Some schools up here don't even allow you to leave school, right? Because the people that man the scanners, the metal detectors, aren't there after lunch. And so you're not allowed to leave the school, right, for lunch. And if you come back, you won't be let on campus. You won't be let in that school unless it's somebody there to check you, your body, your person, everything. Lady says, and some have to walk through a scanner. Yes, a scanner here. Yes. Steptoe says, was she there for then? Absolutely, Steptoe. Tay says, it even went as far as in New York. I don't know about other states where they have the kids put their phones in their bags, which I'm okay with, but I don't agree with an emergency situation like this. Absolutely. In the schools up here, like the school that Doobie goes to, they can carry their phones. They just can't be on them. Yeah. Yeah. So let me find this other. Tay says, Sean B, did you hear about the autistic kid that was in Queens, New York, Long Island City that left the school and eventually was found gone? They even made it even stricter. I did not hear about, well, wait a minute. A black kid, right, Tay? Was it a black kid? I think I did hear about that. But see, that's my whole point. You know what I'm saying? Prohibiting the children from leaving school does not only, it's not only for one thing. Yes, then I did see that. Yes. It's not only for one situation. It doesn't only keep them from being able to bring firearms in when they, or weapons in when they come back. It's also to keep their life. There's no telling what's going on out there in them streets. They walk away from school. You got McNasties all over the place. And now you've got, male and female networks working together to commandeer these kids. And then you find your baby, somebody find your baby somewhere lifeless, man. A lot of parents get mad at the rules. They get mad at the policies and stuff. That stuff is crazy. Those prohibitions are there for a reason. It's to keep our babies safe. Let me get this other part, y'all.
It changed what they did, where they went, and it changed one young woman's life forever. Except it didn't change the actions of one person. It didn't change where Dr. Parker went. It didn't change what she did.
Hey, can you hear it now?
And those choices that she made to treat January 6, 2023, like any other day, even though a gun should change everything, is why we're here today. We're here today to ask you to do something that we can't do alone. And the thing that we cannot do alone is that we cannot achieve accountability by ourselves. That's what jurors are for. That's what you all are here to do if you find that accountability should be had. And you all may have different jobs when you walk outside of this courtroom. You may have different obligations in your personal life. But when you're in this courtroom and you walk back to that deliberation room, if you're one of the jurors that decides this case, your job is to deliberate together and return a unanimous verdict. And in doing that, one of the first things you all will do, if the judge hasn't already told you, is you're going to pick a foreperson. And that foreperson's responsibility is to make sure that everyone participates in the verdict, that everybody's voice is heard in that room, that everybody chimes in and shares their ideas and talks about the evidence. And the reason for that is that the 9 of you who are here and the 7 of you who will decide this case are here as representatives of this community to voice their conscience of what's right. Just like yesterday was election day and we all cast our ballots, you all are here individually, but as part of this community to decide what should have happened on January 6, 2023. And when you're in that room and you're deciding these issues, there may be times where you disagree. And the hard part of this is you've been here for a week and a half and you get to know each other, and sometimes we can hear you laughing as you come out, which is great. And you've made friends. But when you get back into that jury deliberation room and you're talking about the issues in this case, and you're talking about how to decide something and share your thoughts, we're asking you, when you get back there, to fight for what you believe. You're doing that. One of the instructions that I will point you to, and the judge talked about it and I talked about it earlier. We talked in voir dire, if you remember, we said this isn't a criminal case where you decide things beyond a reasonable doubt and a preponderance of the evidence. And I decide something. And look, I hope you get back there. And we've put on enough evidence, I think, that that may be true. But as you're deciding those issues, this is where you come to. This question of what's more likely true than not true. So with that, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to give you a roadmap for what we'll talk about. This is called summation. It's my chance notes. And tell us what this case, to tell you what you heard from that, to try and talk ideas, okay? How do we resolve this? What are tactics that we can think through and process, and how do we answer these questions? And some you may like, so that I can help you to get there. About your job, I'm gonna move quick through Dr. Parker's job was. Then I'm gonna talk about the blame game. And then if you'll let me, I'm gonna slow down and I'll talk about costs and consequences at the end. And the reason I slow down is lose grasp of what we're really here for. And that's to talk about the effect that this has had on this one. Sound good? So, your roadmap: fault, blame, and cost. Fault. Her job is safety. Dr. Parker's job is safety. We talked in opening statement about promises. Do you remember that when Ms. Toscano came up here and we talked about expressed and implied promises, the things we say and the things that are meant with what we say? And when we get out onto the road, I know a lot of us don't have keys with keys anymore, but there's still keys out there, Forerunner.
Y'all, I'm gonna fast
You
forward
put that key in the ignition, you turn,
a bunch of gibberish because
and as you go out onto the roadway, you're making a
it
promise.
takes an hour and 21 minutes, and I'm not gonna.
You don't have to say
hold
it
you
to
guys
people.
that long.
But what you're saying
And
is,
that static is
by
not
strapping
mine.
your seatbelt
My
and going out
system
onto
is
the
there.
highway, you're saying, I promise to look out for you. I promise to see the stop signs that are there to be seen. I promise to stop at those stop signs. I promise to turn my blinker on when I go to change lanes. To make the promise so each of us can go home at night and see our families. Say them out loud. And then there are promises that come with what we say or how we say them. There are promises when you answer the phone and agree to take action or to find something out. And then the question becomes, What happens when you put the phone receiver down on the table and you don't meet that promise? That is what the judge was talking about when he instructed you on what's called Instruction 16. And this is the law to govern you in this case. It says a person who undertakes gratuitously or for consideration, in other words, whether you're paid for it or not, to render services which she should recognize as necessary for the protection of the third person, is subject to liability, talking about fault, to the third person, in this case, we're talking about Ms. Warner, for the physical harm resulting from her, Dr. Parker, failure to exercise care to protect her undertaking. So what does that mean? And we'll get through some of this evidence in a moment. But whether it was on a phone or through a doorway, around noon on January 6, 2023, there was a communication. And that communication involved a gun and a backpack. And she answered the call. And the question that you have to decide now is, by answering that call, by making the promise that I'm going to find something out, explicitly or implicit, we can talk about other promises later, did her failure to exercise reasonable care, in this case, did her failure to act, to do something, increase the risk of harm to Ms. Warner?
Let me ask you guys your opinion. Did her failure to act increase the harm for that teacher? I want all you guys to tell me. Everybody in the chat, give me a yes or a no. Ms. White said they made a law in Queens called Avante's Law after that. Okay. Can everybody give me a yes or a no as to whether or not her failure, Miss Dr. Parker's failure to react resulted in the teacher being wounded? Steptoe says yes. Tay says yes. I feel like you did, but maybe she was overwhelmed because of her position and what their rules are out there. Tina says yes. Miss White, what do you think? Yes, no, Miss White? Lady, what do you think? Okay, maybe they're busy. Well, I think her failure to act definitely resulted in what happened to that teacher. Now, I feel like $40 million is too much to be trying to sue somebody for. That's ridiculous, but I understand her point, though. You know, Tay says, I just feel like people coming into certain positions, you need to know your title and know what you represent for the school. And once certain protocols are being called on teachers, is letting you address it right then and there. That's true. But I think what some people are missing is when a weapon is involved, a whole lot of that normal, everyday humdrum, come in, greet the kids, get instruction, have lunch, go to recess, kiss the kids, send them home to their parents, goes out the window. Now you've got to get into protective mode. That's different. That's different. And unlike this teacher, this was not this Dr. Parker's first year in her working in that capacity. This was this teacher's first year as a first grade student. I mean, a first grade teacher. Her first year teaching. You understand what I'm saying? And so, while there are, the fact of the matter is, it was neither one of those teachers' responsibility to go check a backpack and do anything about it. That's the fact. That's the bottom line. It wasn't a teacher's responsibility. And Dr. Parker had no business assigning that responsibility or allowing another teacher. She was supposed to tell that teacher, no, here I come. Stay here, do this for me. If anything, do this for me, I'll go do that. You understand what I'm saying, Tay? We have to be very careful not to make bringing weapons to school a norm. However, we also have to become proactive about it. Just like parents have a responsibility before we send our children out the door, faculty at the school have a responsibility once they reach their door. I entrust Doobie with every adult in that building, not just the teacher in his classroom. Every adult in that building. That's it, that's all. I don't care how they feel about it. Me as a parent, that's what I'm saying. Right? Because like with the Parkland shooting, there were teachers that heard it down the hall. And what did they do? They put their classroom on lockdown immediately. That's what I'm talking about. It wasn't even happening in their classroom, yet they acted proactively and got into survival mode, protective mode. They closed them doors, they locked them, put stuff up against them. One of the teachers even ran into the bathroom to get the student, the female student that she had just allowed to go to the bathroom, but unbeknownst to her, she didn't go to the bathroom across the hallway. She went to the bathroom downstairs because there was some kind of construction going on. So when that teacher remembered that, she turned around, she went back in her classroom, and she protected the students that were right there in her classroom. That is what I'm talking about as a parent. That is the expectation that I have of every adult in that school. I expect for you to use your ears and your eyes and your feet and your hands for that matter. And that is what this assistant principal should have done. She should have gotten up off her ass, left that classroom, and went and did what she was supposed to do. I am going to... Yes, right. Address it right then and there. Absolutely. Right then and there. Get the hell up and go do your job. Shit. I can't come do it. You damn sure can't come to my house and do my job. So if I can't come to your house and do yours, then I need you to get up and do it. And not, you know what I mean? Pass the buck. Kick the can on up to the other, to somebody else. No, that can belong to you, love. I'm going to need you to pick it up and put it where it belongs. I'm not here to do your job. Hold on. I am going to get to... Um, the judge. Oh my goodness. Hold on, guys. I'm looking for it.
Against former assistant principal Ebony Parker.
The court is of the legal opinion that this is not a crime.
Parker sobbing as she realized she would no longer face 8 felony counts of child endangerment in the January 2023 shooting. Prosecutors alleged she ignored Rich Neck Elementary School staff when they warned her 4 times that a 6-year-old had come to school with a handgun. The first grader then shot his teacher, Abigail Zwerner, through her hand, the bullet lodging in her chest.
He was holding a gun, the student, and it was pointed right at me, and then I was shot.
Zwerner shared her outlook with Savannah in an exclusive interview just months after her terrifying ordeal.
Let's talk first about just
I have a
Judge ruled a person to act in a manner that shows a reckless disregard for human life.
The judge says legally the law requires more. According to the law, there has to be an omission, a failure to act. But that omission has to be wanton and willful.
It was set to be a landmark trial, the first time a school official was criminally charged after a school shooting. The prosecution had laid out its entire case, including showing the jury this interview.
One was awarded $10 million for the criminal case, but guys, legal experts say this is probably just going to end here for Ebony Parker because it's very unlikely that they'll be able to appeal given Virginia law.
Okay. Thank you, Steph.
Appreciate that.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you
There it is, guys. Per Virginia law, this will likely not go any further. I don't know what it means as far as the civil suit is concerned. The monetary recovery that the teacher is going after. Maybe it'll stay in the news and we can revisit it. But I genuinely don't agree with that judge. Now, what I do find very telling is when this happened in Uvalde, in Texas, in that school, right? Everybody who had charges brought up against them, those charges were dropped as well. Yes, some people lost their jobs, right? Some of those cowardly men who stood by down the hallway and around the corner listening to those children being slaughtered lost their jobs. But who got convicted of a crime? Right? I'm not here to say, so she deserved the same grace. No, no, no. Because when it's right, and when it's wrong, it's wrong. I do not believe she should have been acquitted for those negligent charges. Because she was negligent, in my opinion. Just like all those men. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of how those men stood down the hallway and around each corner some wanting to jump into action and were told to stand down. While one officer whose child was in a specific classroom went around outside and pried that window open and secretly got those children out of that classroom. But when that was recognized, when it was noticed by the shooter, he went berserk in the other classroom. He went back and re-victimized the students he had already terrorized. And all them people were acquitted. I don't think they should have been. I think per the video, each and every one of those men who stood there and did nothing and told the one or two guys to stand down, all of them except for those one or two guys, there was one who was off duty but heard the call. He came in his khaki shorts and flip-flops. But he grabbed a vest and he grabbed his weapon, his off-duty weapon, and he came and he got in the fight and was told to stand down. While they listened to children get slaughtered. They should not have been acquitted. Yet nothing happened to them. Not legally, not criminally. Well, in this case, I agree as well. She should not have been acquitted of those neglectful charges of every student in that classroom and that teacher. She should not have been. She shouldn't have. She was derelict in her fucking duties. And if that judge did that because she was trying to exact some kind of racial revenge, then shame the fuck on her too. I said it, and that's what I mean. There comes a time when we got to put these racial issues, we got to put that plate down. Because right does not have a race. What's right is right. And what's wrong is wrong. It takes a racist to say what's right is white and what's wrong is black. No. Hell no. Because every student in that classroom wasn't white. Every student in that classroom was not black either. I don't agree with this bullshit. I don't. Her tears does not move me. And I'm sorry that it took this kind of catastrophe, and luckily this woman lived. She'll undoubtedly never be the same. She probably won't even work with special needs children anymore. Any kind of delayed challenges or anything like that. She'll probably never work in that capacity again. And she could have been the very kind of teacher that our children who are on the spectrum need. But she's been tainted. She's been injured. And she'll probably never get past that. And therefore will never work in that capacity again. She'll probably only go work at schools where these children operate on, you know what I mean, a normal kind of level. Pardon, the phrase is for the lack of a better one. And that's very unfortunate. But this assistant principal should not be allowed to be an assistant principal ever again. She shouldn't be allowed to be in charge of anybody's children but her own. I would not want to see her under pressure at all. There are some people who do the damn thing under pressure. They turn into Wonder Woman and Batman. Y'all understand what I'm saying? She doesn't strike me as the type. And I don't know if it's because she was afraid, just couldn't be bothered. It's very unfortunate that this happened to that teacher. It's unfortunate that it happened to the students. It's unfortunate that it happened to the teacher's co-workers. I'd like to know what the principal felt. I wish I could have been a spider in the corner that heard what that principal said to that assistant principal. I hope it was something like, why in the fuck didn't you call me? Why didn't you ring my bell? Something. This is very unfortunate, y'all. And the other unfortunate thing is the fact that at the end of each one of these lives, no matter who the content creator is, if they're covering them and covering them correctly, it is very unfortunate that at the end of it, what is always relevant is when we say, stop minding your own business. Get proactive. Go the extra mile. And you can simply start by doing your fucking job and doing it right. As a parent or in the capacity in which you work. If everybody do their job and do it right, with the way that laws have changed and policies have been implemented, I dare say that in a school, I wouldn't give a damn what you were in the midst of. If a firearm or a weapon comes into play, it negates whatever it was you were doing because lives are at risk. I guarantee you it wasn't no more testing going on, Tay. I guarantee you. With the chaos that, where's my child? Where's my baby? I want my baby. I can't find my baby. Wasn't nobody testing after they heard them shots? And it all could have been avoided had she just gotten up and did her damn job. That's all she had to do. Y'all, if y'all can safely go the extra mile, the world needs you to. We all need you to. Anybody working in the capacity of where there are some mental issues, please watch your back, your front, your left, and your right. Your life may depend on it. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. Y'all be safe. I love you.
Yeah. Sean B on YouTube. Ooh, yeah. Late night on the screen, got the city lights low. Sean B bringing truth to the stories below. From New York with grace and a mind so wise, she can see through the dark, she can read through the lines. Every clue, every name, every twist, every turn, she be digging down deep till the realness burns. For the ones left behind, for the pain unseen, she be lifting those voices in between the scenes. So like, share, subscribe, let the real ones roll. Sean B on the case. speak.